Hey, I was just driving, so it's a bit dark because I'm in an underground car park. But often when I'm driving, I have these thoughts, and I was just thinking, because I'm running Queen School on Boxing Day, and I was just sitting with what that was and what it was going to be and what my journey has been to creating the content that is Queen School. And one of the first things I thought about was the most profound impact on my relationship when I reflect was that I'd already decided who he was. So I've been with my husband for 18 years now, and when I think about, I had this whole piece of me that was hippie and tantric and yogic and spiritual woo-woo, and I never brought any of that to him because he's a super mainstream guy. He's just, a typical Aussie sporting, beer drinking, funny guy, but certainly not the typical conscious man that we, perhaps in more of a spiritual community, are used to rubbing up against or with. And so there was this huge part that I just never brought to him, and I had already decided that that was not something he could meet or would want to meet or would be even able to, because he probably couldn't even understand the concepts. And even if he did, I was repulsed at the thought of having to teach him stuff and all of the awkwardness that would mean about whether he would do it or not do it, and that I'd get super angry with him when he didn't do it right. So there was just no point, right? Because I'd already decided who he was. I'd decided, not him. He didn't have the freedom to move. He didn't have the ability to show me pieces of him that I was unwilling to see, because I had decided he couldn't be those things. So therefore, he couldn't meet me in those places. So therefore, I never brought those pieces of me to him. And I went to workshops and spiritual spaces and chose community. And I said in my head, you can't ask your partner to be all things. You must find those pieces of you outside of the relationship so that the relationship doesn't have the pressure of needing to be everything for you. But really what that was not offering him the opportunity to explore those pieces of who he was through me and open them up. And it didn't offer me, actually, the most spiritual of all teachings was to be more intimate with the parts that made my skin crawl of myself that I would need to face in order for him to be able to be those things for me. So here I find myself 18 years with this man, and he meets every piece of me. Every piece. He is tantric without realizing even that he is, simply because we have conversations and I learn how to reveal what is happening and move it in my body in like emotion, right? Energy in movement in a way that evokes him, where he understands it in his body, even if he doesn't get it in his head, and that he is able to be responsive to my body when I keep it open, rather than closing it off, feeling repulsed, pushing him away, deciding his fate, and never inviting him into any of it. And he meets those places, and it breaks my heart, actually, now that I look back and I know more deeply who this man is now, who this, completely evolving, blossoming king in front of me is every day, who I'm more attracted to and have more profound moments with than what I did 20 years ago. Can't even imagine experiencing anything like I experienced with him, with people who I thought could provide me with those experiences. I can't even touch it, because they can't touch those places of me that he has access to already. And I think back to, how I cut him off, how I shut him down, how I decided that he couldn't be any of those things, so therefore he couldn't, right? And it turns out that all I had to do was move into intimacy learn the art of revealing to the masculine in a way that they are evoked into the motion of the energy that's in your body, right? Like, it's epic, really. And he chooses to meet those places, and we have far greater, more expanded experiences together than what I think either of us probably ever really expected. And it's because I stopped deciding who he was, and I let him show me who he was, you know, layer by layer, piece by piece, because I didn't hide pieces of me from him anymore, because I didn't decide what the fate was going to be. And I learned the feminine art of opening my body and showing and revealing him to a sense that he is designed to be responsive to, like designed, hardwired to, can't not. And yet I was so sure that he couldn't, but really it was because I never let him. So when I think about some of my greatest learnings, that's what Queen School is for me. It's how I've learnt to be in a most expanded, conscious relationship with a man who, by all, you know, outside appearances, is fairly unconscious. But what is consciousness, right? He's a man. He's a masculine core being. He is a king, and he is consciousness purely and simply because he is a masculine core being. And he's here to bring me into deeper consciousness, but I have to learn the art of the feminine and the movement of energy in my body to allow him to be, to evoke him to be. And that's what Queen School is. Part of that learning is that, learning who he is beyond what my projections and attachments say he can be, and learning how to be more together. And it really, honestly, in intimate relationship has nothing to do with talking. It has nothing to do with staying in your head. It has nothing to do with staying in your masculine and pushing him into his feminine. It has everything to do with when I am willing to be in the intimate space that intimacy brings me and learn the art of how to be there. I don't know if I even have words for it. Like, when we change, they do. We don't need to change them in order to change our reality. All we need to do is learn how to move through what is present for us, how to evoke what we're designed to be, that we're not taught in society and culture. And they become that, right? Like, it's manifestation in action, but through our body, which is what we're designed to be as feminine beings. So Queen School, you can check it out at thepleasurenutritionist.com or links in socials. It does begin Boxing Day. We are going to be doing intensive learning weeks. There'll be 3 of those, one on the king, one on the queen, and one on the union. We're having integration in between, and then we're having a 4-week block afterwards where I'm just online with you as you sort of sort your way through what that looks like as life continues beyond the learnings. You can start it on a payment plan for only $89, and there's nothing my heart and body wants more now than to teach women what I've learned. And I would love for you to have the most, intimately expanded and connected experience that I have with my very unconscious man, right? So come do it. I promise it's going to be epic. It really is all of the learnings of all of my years of wisdom, but not separated. It's all integrated into a really normal relationship rather than one that has to look like the awakened conscious man journey. So please go check it out. I'll see ya.